This week on Capitol Report, an eye-popping report on spending abuses within the Connecticut state colleges and university system.
The things we found range from expensive meals to livery services to room service to dry cleaning.
Tell them about the sides.
The sides, son.
Sides?
Yeah.
Sides? $26,000 worth of sides? What are these sides? They cure cancer?
Also, the growing concerns about drones flying over Connecticut.
They're here.
All I can do is believe the various entities who have said that there's no unlawful activity.
Nothing to see here. Please disperse.
Plus, a deep dive into Connecticut's 2024 Electoral College vote.
Today we gather to carry out an essential step in the democratic process.
You bought it this time, Buster. I'm calling your national office.
And where does Governor Lamont see himself sitting when he attends Donald Trump's inauguration?
Well, that's probably up to the incoming president, so I may be out by the latrines, but we'll find out.
Stay tuned. Cap Report starts now. Welcome to Cap Report. I am Tom Dutch. We are so glad you're spending part of this Sunday morning. Don't do your Christmas shopping yet, alongside with Danielle Wong, the mayor of Bloomfield, Connecticut.
Good morning.
Joe Irasuma, it's football coach. Well, until next year.
Until next year.
Democrat Speaker of the House, Liz Corinne, I've seen your Christmas finery.
And thank you, Iggy, for my
But there you go. You say it every year.
I have to.
Johnny McKinney's back with us. Johnny Mac.
I am. Merry Christmas.
No Christmas stuff on you, huh?
It's
You
green.
got a green tie.
All right, guys. All right. Expensive meals, dry cleaning, car services, room service. Those are just a few of the items Connecticut State College and university leaders spent your tax dollars on, according to an independent audit. CSCU Chancellor President Terrence Cheng and nearly all state university leaders are part of what State Controller Sean Scanlon describes as systematic problem. The audit came at the request of Governor Lamont. Republican leaders calling it a black eye for the state of Connecticut and are calling for Chancellor Cheng to be terminated. While Scanlon points out, not all that spending is nefarious. He did lay out 10 proposals for a sweeping change that he is hoping the legislature, in their infinite wisdom, will codify into law during the next session of the legislation, which begins pretty soon. Watch this.
The things we found range from expensive meals to livery services to room service to dry cleaning to improper tickets to events that were not school-related functions, paying for the cell phone bills and Eversource bills of students without clear adherence to a policy. When students are asked to pay more to go to those schools, when faculty and administration has been reduced and curtailed due to spending cuts. All of these things, again, display, in some cases, a shocking and tone-deaf display of poor judgment at a time that we need to be held to a higher standard.
That's the most we've seen of the comptroller in like 50 years in Connecticut. Jeez. Hey, Lamont called this small ball. You agree with that, Joe?
No, not at all. I actually think the word Scanlon used was exactly correct. It's tone deaf. We have students and parents and families struggling to pay their student loan bills, and we see these types of actions, and the public is outraged, rightfully so. I think the legislature and the governor have to make immediate corrections, because we're talking class sizes, we're talking, the facilities. There's a lot of issues there, and if we're talking about this, we're not paying attention to what we need to be paying attention to.
Yeah, I think that's right. And if your hair is not on fire over this, then I don't know what gets you upset. Yeah. The CSCU system has come with their hand out to the legislature demanding more money, and once again we see they have no respect for the money that they do get. It shouldn't have been up to the governor to ask for an audit. The Board of Regents should have done this on their own. This should not have been something that had to take that action. They knew what was going on and they did nothing. And look, yes, we need to implement these changes. Vinnie Candelora last year asked that we have the P cards go under Sean Scanlon. That didn't happen, right? So we have to make changes, and the chancellor should step down.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I don't believe the chancellor needs to step down. I think what he needs to be doing is rolling out expeditiously the comptroller's very diligent recommendations immediately. This is actually reminiscent of how we feel on the towns and city side when it comes to our public school system. The lack of transparency sometimes, or perceived lack of transparency, misuse or abuse of, or perceptions of abuse of funds and taxpayer dollars. And so more transparency, similar to an open checkbook like we have at the state level for these types of spendings, would would be significantly in a larger step. I think that folks need to be held accountable. There needs to be consequences in the form of providing audits to those spending dollars, but slashing at the top just because we want to feel better about making sure that there are consequences that we see and feel is a knee-jerk reaction, and I don't think it's...
Well, in football, sometimes the manager has to go.
Right. Well, you know, this kind of sort of waste and abuse is almost why I used to argue for an inspector general all the time. Look, Liz points out something very important. The governor called for this investigation through Comptroller Sean Scanlon. Where were the Board of Regents? They're the ones who have the responsibility as to who's leading that CSU system, and they should be calling for their audits of what's going on. They should have seen what he was doing, and they should have been the ones to blow the whistle. So they've been missing in action here. I think the question is, with his errors in judgment, and the governor acknowledged he made errors in judgment, the governor, I think, also acknowledged that, look, the bigger picture is here, is we've got to fix this system, and we're going to see the governor's budget make a commitment to that system. The question is, with these errors in judgment, which we all know are egregious, has he lost credibility to lose the system? And that, again, is up to the Board of Regents, and they need to make a decision on whether he can go forward.
And these regents need to get off their Zoom calls and get their butts into the conference room and actually go to the meetings.
And important to note, this is only 1,000 transactions out of thousands. Right? I mean, this is, we have no idea how deep this actually goes, which is why this is going to require much more.
We got important business to take care of here. So everyone's all in a tizzy these days over these drone sightings. Senator Blumenthal's ready to shoot them down. Conspiracy theorists are running amok about, well, one thing is for certain, there haven't been many answers from the White House about what the heck's happening. There's been numerous sightings in Connecticut, and everyone is weighing in, from the lead Democrat in the House Intelligence Committee, Jim Himes, to State Senator Tony Wong, who's having differing opinions on all this. Watch this for a second.
I think what we're dealing with here is, you know, New Jersey and frankly where I live in southwestern Connecticut, this is some of the busiest airspace in the world, right? I mean, you've got, you know, 6 or 7 major airports there: LaGuardia, Kennedy, Newark, White Plains, Teterboro. You know, 10 years ago there weren't drones. Now you've got 800,000 registered drones and millions more of unregistered drones. So, you know, I think people are looking up and seeing things, and as long as everybody's talking about drones on social media, they're saying, "Oh yeah, I saw a drone." So anyway, bottom line, no cause for alarm.
Urgently, at present, what we have is a lack of information at all levels of government to the public. It's unacceptable.
Well, the aliens come for me, guys. I want Tony Wong standing in between them. Rob Blanchard would be like hiding under the bed or something like that.
Keep me up, Scotty.
Right. What do you think?
Shots fired.
Shots fired, huh?
It is ironic that Senator Blumenthal is telling people to go shoot down these drones. Please, people, don't go shoot down these drones. You know, Congressman Himes makes a point, and our own News 8 Mike Cerulli, who's a pilot, has taught me, look, if you see something with red, white, and green lights, that's a small plane.
Oh, the aliens couldn't basically figure that one out, McKinney, and make a drone that looked like
there are no aliens.
I can't.
And when you go from basically Boston to New York, New Jersey, that is the heaviest air traffic in the country. So a lot of these are small planes. And yes, there are more drones out there. They're not from Iran. They're not from China. They're not here to bomb us. They're not from some other planet. Just everybody, everybody relax.
And Himes, in his comments, guys, did say he's been assured there are nothing in Area 51 that should concern us.
Well, but you also, like, it's like when somebody says, oh, there's something to see. Now, all of a sudden, everyone is looking up and they're seeing something that otherwise they never would have noticed before, right? So, oh, the moon looks great tonight. Everybody goes out and looks at the moon because everyone is looking at the moon.
I cannot tell you how much I've learned about plasmoids, angels, biblically correct angels, and different things of that nature. But to the point of Senator Hong and you know, different legislators and leaders around the state, when you don't have clarity, people just spread misinformation. They absorb things. They kind of just share, and they get freaked out, right? So I think, you know, as much as the Biden administration and the state administration, to the best of their ability, can provide clarity on what is happening, would really alleviate some concerns.
We don't have a president right now. We just don't. Tell us anything.
Well, and part of it is, don't forget that once people see us reacting to it, they're going to do it more. Hey, it's fun. Let's get the reaction. Let's get the headlines. Nothing to see here.
It's like the last scene in Christmas Vacation, too. And that's what they're going to be looking at, right? All right, guys. Well, it was just a formality, but last Tuesday, amid a traditional ceremony in the state Senate, where McKinney used to hang his hat, Connecticut officially cast its 7 electoral votes for President of the United States, which will be sent to Congress to be counted on January 6th. And here's how it all went down.
The electors have chosen Kamala Harris for the office of President of the United States.
Geez. Hey, the Democrats want to see.
Look at that enthusiasm.
They want to see a Democratic president. They have to watch reruns of the West Wing, guys, for years.
Tom, you are on fire today.
Come on, huh?
Yeah, look, it's part of the process.
Where do they go from here now, Joe?
The party as a whole? Yeah, we have to recenter ourselves, and I don't know exactly where it is. I really do believe that we got too far out in front of the electorate on a lot of issues, and we need to engage in conversations and have the conversations that are really about the kitchen table issues, Liz, that you always say, about putting groceries on the table, paying their bills, being able to send their kids to college, not get distracted by these other areas. Yeah, there's a lot of important issues, but when you can't put food on the table for your family, it's the only thing you have in your mind.
Joe, Senator Murphy's telling us democracy's over. He's not focusing on the cost of food on the table. He's not focusing on the border. He's not focusing on any of those issues, which is why Donald Trump won. So we'll see where that happens. I will say, I'm old enough to remember when a number of Democrats in the legislature wanted to do a compact with other states to force your Electoral College votes to vote for the winner of the popular vote. Yeah. Boy, that would have been funny seeing Kevin Sullivan and other people have to vote for Donald Trump.
And Danielle, it is a municipal election year. I keep reminding you as the only mayor on the panel. Yeah. What do you think these issues, where did the Democratic Party go in the municipals?
Well, I think they really need to identify building that bench, all the way from school boards to planning boards to town councils and city councils. I think that the Democratic Party nationwide has been really disconnected and fractioned, and I think that embracing a bench and making sure that new generations of leaders have that opportunity to voice their opinion is where the Democrats need to go, but it doesn't look like that's really being embraced right now.
The other issue that you have to remember too is going into a midterm is certainly not in favor of the party that's in charge, right? I mean, the only president where that has been an outlier was George W. Bush after the horrific terrorist attacks of 9/11. So Republicans are going to have to be looking at this as well and saying, what are we going to deliver to the country in the next 2 years to help maintain control of the Congress? But, you know, there's nothing like a presidential election, 4 years for Democrats to start to work toward the future, and Republicans are going to have to be doing the same thing. Donald Trump won't be on the ballot again, so I think both parties are in that situation, which is quite unique. We haven't seen that in a long time.
And I've never heard a Republican talk about getting rid of the debt ceiling, and now that's sort of on the table, which is very interesting.
It'll be a wild couple of years.
All right, guys. Hey, Connecticut lawmakers making their New Year's resolutions for 2025. Up next on Capital Report, Newsday's political reporter, the kid, Mike Cerulli, gets them to spill on the changes they're looking to make personally and professionally when we get back. And Cerulli's going to tell us his too, Mike, right? Yeah. Well, seeing that it's our last Cap Report of 2024, we thought it'd be a good chance to check in with some of the big power players to see what's on their mind heading into the new year. Our News 8's political reporter, Mike Cerulli, asked the legislators' top leaders, what's your New Year's resolution? Here's what they had to say. Watch this.
My personal New Year's resolution is to keep in closer contact with some old friends. And my political and governmental one is to take advantage of the fact that we have the largest state Senate Democratic majority in 38 years to deliver for the people of our state.
Outside the building, less caffeine. Inside the building, maintaining the fiscal guardrails.
I'm not a big believer in New Year's resolutions, so I don't have one that comes to mind. But if I had to pick one, my New Year's resolution is for the House Democrats to finally win a kickball game and beat the House Republicans for the first time.
To bring our state workers back to Hartford, to bring normalcy back to the way government is provided to our residents by having them back in the office, and to bring efficiencies to our state government.
Mike Cerulli joins us now. Mike, those are interesting responses. A little throwdown for Air Simwitz here over kickball, and Ludi sounds like he's ready to be very assertive, no?
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting dynamic to watch. I'm not talking about the kickball field. I'm talking about Looney and Ritter coming in with particularly large majorities. And as you heard there, you know, it's no secret. We know Looney is going to have a different approach than Steve Harding is going to have. But I'm interested in how much daylight there might be between Looney and Ritter when it comes to those fiscal guardrails that we talk so much about. Those potential rifts between Democrats, that's something to watch in the new year, Tom.
Vinnie Candelora sounding very Doge these days, Mike. Bringing those workers back, huh?
Yeah, getting government workers back in the office, finding efficiencies. That does sound a lot like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. That's going to be another interesting thing to watch. How much will Connecticut Republicans embrace Trump now that they know that his ideas are perhaps more popular than the political insiders in Hartford previously thought? Will any Democrats join Republicans in those efficiency efforts? I guess we'll have to see.
Mike, what about the Nedster? Did you get a New Year's resolution from him?
Well, I asked him about his New Year's resolution. I pulled him aside after his annual speech at the Middlesex Chamber of Commerce. Here's what the governor had to say.
You have any New Year's resolutions on deck?
I'll let you know later. I've already given up everything. I'm 70.
That's a cop-out, Mike. Everybody can lose 10 pounds. Look at me, you know? Come on, Mike, much more to come in 2025. Great having you on the program. Mike,
always great to be here, Tom.
Great. Up next on Calp Report, Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy, the Murph, back on X, and he's addressing a topic that's on a lot of people's minds these days. Find out what he is talking about, and McKinney will have a rant on that when we get back. Don't go away. Last week, we showed a clip from a video that Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy posted on X, and you can count on two things in these videos. One, the Murph is going to be dressed in comfy home clothes, and two, he's usually pretty upset about something. And last week, it was about the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Well, Murphy outright condemns the actions of the gunman. He does think that political leaders need to listen to what people are feeling about the healthcare industry and do something about it. Watch this.
Murder is never justified. It isn't. But if this country's leaders don't pay attention to the conversation that's happening right now this weekend, that is a mistake. People in America today feel ignored, they feel scared, they feel alone in a system that intentionally grinds them down, a system where profit matters more than life. My colleagues need to listen, and they need to do something about it.
All right, who wants a piece of the Murph?
What has Chris Murphy done himself to address the cost of health care? Right? Obamacare was supposed to solve all of our problems, and it has created innumerable more problems. Government involvement has made everything more expensive, as it always does. And what he's listing about people's issues are exactly why Donald Trump got elected, right? People in Washington, particularly, are ignoring what you talked about, which is that life is more expensive, government is ignoring them, and they're constantly being talked down to. He hasn't offered a single solution. That's his job. He's pointing the finger at the rest of his colleagues. What's he doing? And to say but after saying someone shouldn't be murdered, there is no but, period.
I think the but he was referring to is the sentiment below it, that people are frustrated. And you're right, there needs to be more answers. And instead of just highlighting it, we do have a healthcare industry, not a healthcare system in this country. Those answers are quite complex. Multiple people have tried. But yeah, it has to be more answers and less just throwing out the blame.
Yeah, so I do agree with the senator in regards to, yes, this has highlighted where we are as society. I think for far too long, working families, the working class, have been put on the back burner. That's what we have. I've said it post the last presidential election, and I'll say it again. I don't believe this is a left or right issue.
Nope.
This is a top-down issue. Yeah. And if we do not listen, as the senator has directed his colleagues, his peers, industry leaders, millionaires, billionaires, whatever you want to call it, then we're going to be in serious trouble. And this is not going to be the last attempt of violence for somebody that is ahead of an industry that has far closed their ears to the needs of the people.
Yeah,
McKinney,
what's shocking, though...
Emerson poll, 41% of people believe that it was
That's
justified.
shocking. 40% of young people,
Yep.
his death was acceptable. And I imagine that's the same 40% who thought it was acceptable that these innocent Israeli teenagers were murdered on October 7th. We have a real problem with that. And unfortunately, Chris Murphy's not the only elected representative, but his words are only fueling that fire rather than bringing us together. I've been very frustrated with what I've seen from Senator Murphy since the election. He's doubling down on that Trump is going to destroy democracy and all of these things. Look, Chris Murphy, when I served with him, was a big thinker who tried to solve big problems. He's the same senator who sat down with John Cornyn, a Republican, and Jim Lankford, a Republican. He's now becoming a shrill partisan. He has a chance to be a great leader in the Senate to rise above politics. And he's not only not doing that, he's going in the wrong direction by simply just attacking.
Grab your popcorn, McKinney, huh? Hey, up next on Calvert Report, a rural Connecticut town gets approval for a big-time piece of technology. The details we get back. Do not go away.
Tom did promise them.
Automated traffic cameras are coming to Connecticut. Goody goody gumdrops. The first municipalities to get one won't be New Haven, Hartford, or Stamford. Nope. The state's first traffic enforcement camera is going to be in, drumroll please, Washington, Connecticut. Look, every town has to deal with people speeding and dangerous roads. I don't begrudge Washington, Connecticut of just having a camera. It's just under 3,700 residents. Washington is Connecticut's 141st most populated town, and yep, there are 169. Nevertheless, speeding is a problem every town, and now that Big Brother will be watching that intersection. Watch this. Oh, let's have a discussion. Hey,
has anyone ever driven on a dirt road in Washington?
Yeah, I'm not going to the White Horse anymore, but maybe one of those New Yorkers going to the Mayflower will get their tickets.
Yeah, when they come to see the leaves change in September and October, a lot of New Yorkers are going to get caught.
I have to be honest, I had to pull up the map to figure out where it was.
Oh,
come on, that's bad.
It's true.
It's bad.
I have a very, very distinct memory of driving on dirt roads in Washington back in 2006.
Time to say goodbye for the mayor, the coach,
there's no cameras there.
John McKinney, the last one of the new year, 25.
All right, let's go, John.
They don't have a football.